Hello, beautiful people. This is Vlad from Synaptic Schism, and this is the first of a series of videos that I will be calling deconstructions. So a deconstruction is a review of a song or an instrumental from an independent artist that I follow and engage with. And my objective is to review their music, get it to as much people as possible, and then deconstruct technically why I had an emotional response to the track, what led me to enjoy that track. Because I believe that if we understand what motivated the emotional response, we can be better musicians, mixers, creators, and so on. So it is my pleasure to start with a band that I relate a lot with, Below Carbon. Below Carbon is a progressive metal band that they have this almost Tool quality to them. It's what you're listening in the background, and it's the track that we are going to deconstruct. They are very strong in terms of, well, both technically in terms of arrangement and songwriting. Everything that they do is absolutely marvelous, and on a personal level, when I listened to this track the first time, I was surprised because I was working on changing the sound for Synaptic Schism for around a year, and I had not nailed it. And then suddenly I listened to this and I was like, this is the sound that I'm looking for, which was really cool because it gave me a basis to learn and understand what was going on. So in this track in particular, we are going to focus on the intro to Deconstructed. So let's start there. Let's go to the intro. All right, let me get my notes. So this initial section, you'll hear a pad and a pulse. Okay. Now, it gets this bass, which is very, let me pause here, I love this because it sounds like a modern version of Eulogy by Tool. I love this, it's amazing. But notice that the percussion is wider now. It even feels random at times. Now we have a lo-fi guitar. And you have more percussion layers. So the percussion is always growing and always getting wider. It's really cool. This is still intro. And in a bit you will notice that the guitar will be low, kind of mono, for just a couple of seconds. Brilliant. Okay, so this is what we are going to deconstruct now. So this all starts here with this is almost a drone, then there's a pad and a pulse and a little bit of percussion. So let's do the following. Let's create like a grid here. Let's say left, center. I need to get up one of those fancy pens if I want to continue to do this, because it's very hard to write and draw with the mouse. So left, center, and right channels, and in here we have low, mid, and high frequencies. Okay, so this first part, let's get a new color here. This first part, basically you have elements that are taking this space over here, right? So the pad, everything is very centered, very low in the frequency, kind of almost muffled in a way. And the percussion is, we are getting more and more layers of percussion. Now, when the bass enters, note that the percussion is wider and almost random. Right? So what we have is a bass, let's get another color, and this bass is taking up this room and also a little bit of this room. It's very present, let's say. And then you have sparks of like random percussion popping up here and there, right? And then as this progresses, you have more and more percussion and noises, and then this guitar. This is quite a lo-fi guitar. So, while in here the track is opening up over time with percussion, if you think in terms of frequencies, what we have, let's say that this is 20 Hertz and this is 20,000 Hertz. What we have is, for instance, the bass is carved like this, okay? Then we have like these sprinkles of percussion popping up over time, and then the guitar, since it's lo-fi, we know that it's scooped somewhere, you know, like with a bend or a high cut and a low cut at the same time. So the bass gives this space, and the lo-fi guitar fits here perfectly, and it just pokes enough to create, to add to that. And then as the guitar continues to play, we are just adding more layers. So the complexity increases of the guitar. We have the guitar doing more and more percussion. We even have a kick that I didn't even notice that it was here. And we have more distortion in the background, seems like drums or something like that. This part is establishing the riff. Now when it stops, okay. So all of this is established, that the intro makes the music go wider, the bass is kind of scooped, leaving space for the lo-fi guitar. But over time, let's clear this now. Over time, something very interesting is happening. So we have, let's say that this is time, and that this is intensity, or something like that, okay? So what happens is we start with the pads and those pulses, then we get the bass and more percussion, right? Then we get the guitar, and it's not a step. The guitar actually continues to increase over time. And then we got this 5 seconds here, and it's the full band moving forward. Okay, now, this here is very important. So what happens is that we get the guitar completely by itself for those seconds, then the band kicks in. This is our perception. It doesn't necessarily mean that the intensity grew that much, but if we didn't have this hard stop, let's say, this decrease, sudden decrease of intensity, our perceived intensity would be around here, if you know what I mean. Now, the brilliance of this track is that I've put intensity here. I could actually put anything that I wanted. So the stereo spread increases, the complexity in terms of number of elements. So for instance, you always have elements being added. I would argue that if I wanted to do a graph with just the percussion would be going like this, almost linearly. There's always stuff being added like at every single part. So all of this is consistently growing at a steady pace. Intensity, stereo spread, the stuff that is going on, the complexity of the stuff that is going on, even the guitar is contributing to it. And then suddenly we have a stop here where we have the least amount of complexity, so one and only one instrument, very toned down, it's lo-fi, everything is kind of compressed, and it creates the expectation that something is just going to explode. This is brilliant. So listen to the beginning, and then where we are here, and then here, and then finally to that part. Then it stops. It's fantastic arrangement. If you think about the whole lo-fi thing, it is arrangement, but it's also pretty good mixing and production. Over the rest of the track, you are going to listen to this very well put identity of the track, and then just layers of either strings, choirs, synths. It continues to grow, to add. It never becomes dull. It's one of those tracks that it could continue for quite a bit. And it's not a short one. It's 6 minutes of music. And then it has the outro. It's just an outstanding piece of music. That's what it is. It's really fantastic. So all of the links for Stoned Ape Theory and Below Carbon will be in the description. If you want to show me your music, I promise that I will listen to it. And I promise that if I love it, I will add it to a list, but I cannot promise that I will deconstruct it. Anyway, the easiest way to engage with me is in X, Twitter, or if you want to leave a comment, if you don't have Twitter, just let me know, and I will love to hear your stuff. And I hope that this first episode of Deconstructions was cool. I want to do this with a bunch more music. I have already another track lined for the future, let's say. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, and until the next video, bye bye.